And today's title is Supermoms in Times of Quarantine. In today's show, we're going to be covering why women have it tougher than men, things men can do to help balance more at home, and how businesses can reinvent themselves and have profits online. Coming live from Houston with Ernesto Verdugo and live from Dubai with Dave Crane. Interesting day. One of the things I can talk about is in Dubai, we've just been issued details that for the next 3 days, we're on in-home lockdown because the governments have decided to spray the entire streets with what do you call it, sanitizer to make sure that everybody stays safe. So that's a bit of a challenge because obviously they've said to us at the same time, do not leave the house because there will be fines for it unless you actually have a reason to go. They've changed the trains and the public transport, so they run every 3 minutes. The reason for that is they don't want more than, say, 150 people on the metro, whereas normally it'll take about 650 people. So they want to space it out so everyone's got adequate space. And so rather than packing themselves on, they can keep a safe social distance and then get the next train and the next train. So there's going to be enough for everybody. For the essential people, who make sure that we've got food in the shops, we've got food being delivered, we've got pharmacies open, and we've got essential services. So, I mean, they deserve it. I'm looking forward to whenever UAE, we say we should give everybody a massive round of applause. I believe that today in the UK, that's what we're doing at 8 o'clock for the NHS care workers, because that's for a ton of volunteers. And over 560,000 people have volunteered to work for free to help the NHS, which is National Health Service in the UK, deal with all the challenges of all these coronavirus symptoms. So it's a bit of a challenge. It means I can't walk the dogs tomorrow, which I haven't told them yet, but I'm sure they'll make a big deal of it for the next 3 days anyway. So let's just see how that pans out. I don't think I can see the picture that well, but it's actually a drone spraying the streets. And I think we worked out it's Al Diafa Street in Dubai. And there you go. There's people out on the streets cleaning it and drones getting to all the bits that people can't reach. Super high tech in UAE. It's very much like you'd expect from Star Wars, but the government do an incredible job of making everybody feel safe. So I feel I'm very, very privileged to have been here for 25 plus years, and I still see no reason to leave. That's my own particular take on it.
That is crazy. Yeah, indeed. I actually know very well that that area in town is Al Diafa Road in Dubai. That's interesting. Anyway, well, that's the news there in Dubai. Here in Houston, what I woke up today with the news was that there was going to be a parade with all the with all the teachers from here in the area, that they were going to go and say hello to the kids. So basically, there were a ton of cars that were just driving around all over the place saying hello to the kids. So I think that was also very nice. So that is basically what has been happened. But anyway, we are calling this episode the Super Mom episode because I think one of the things that we realized is that right now, moms have it a lot more difficult because of having kids here all the time. And I mean, I see Joan, my wife, really working like crazy. And I'm trying to work here in my little office here in the garage in the house. But she's basically having to be now teacher and mom and wife and everything. So we thought that it would be a great idea to dedicate a little bit of time to the mothers. Today it was also opening day in Major League Baseball, and as you know, I'm a very big fan from baseball, and it makes me very sad. You couldn't stop
yourself, could you? You couldn't leave it longer on the subject of women. You had to go to sports. You're a bloke.
Well, the thing that's exactly. Actually, I am keeping it on the subject because what happens is that now that we don't have sports, and that also doesn't apply only to me, but also applies to to soccer or to basketball or whatever football, whatever sport you're into. Right now, there's nothing like that, so we have to support the women. So let's just get started with that.
Stop there. Do not bring me into that misogynistic attitude. Here's the thing, right? I understand what you're saying about sports, but I think it's a very different situation that we got right now. Well, I think the salute is very important to look at what the role is that women have, because guys at home now are either getting under their feet or basically trying to add if they can, but not being very good at it. Let's put this in perspective, because women have the lead in the home generally, and this is just not my facts, these are the facts that are generally true. When it comes to childcare, it means looking after elderly parents, and also when it comes to domestic decisions, cooking, cleaning. And I'm not saying this from a sexist point of view. Guys generally don't do it, but now we're in the home, and so we should be helping more with that. I mean, tomorrow we're talking about having a cleaning day, and I have to pull my own weight with that as well, which scares me because I have no idea what cleaning means, but I have to do it. So Gallup says that 7 times more women are involved in caring jobs in the home than men. And we also have to take a nod towards the fact that 80% of single parents are women. So that gives a massive challenge, because if you're in a couple and you're both at home, you can share duties. But the majority of single parents are female, and so not only are they thinking about how to keep a job going, but now they can't use childcare. They've got to be at home looking after the kids at the same time, keeping them sweet and everything. So effectively, and here's the thing I wanted to state, women are not only just doing their normal stuff, but they're the chief healthcare officer, the chief education officer, and the chief entertainment officer at home, and juggling a job in many cases as well. My wife's downstairs now editing photos for a wedding a couple of months ago that she was like a couple of weeks ago. So I think let's put sports to one side and just actually salute them properly for the incredible job that they do at home and at work and everything else.
Absolutely. I mean, this is absolutely the most important part. And I think, well, first of all, we have to say that it's great that we have right now, this is our 7th show. We have done this 7 days in a row. And I think now it's actually sinking in. And the reason why I was actually mentioning the story of sports is because, of course, I mean, I think everybody's changing. Everybody's actually starting to realize. You know what I was thinking, which was very interesting? There's a great video. It's a bit long. That's why we cannot include it on the show. But there's a great video from one Canadian astronaut, which is actually talking about the importance of confinement. And he was actually sharing some tips on being confined to a place. And it says that it takes about 7 to 10 days. If you're going to be into a long confinement, it takes 7 to 10 days for you to start realizing that how it is. And one of the things that he says that is incredibly important is that you actually have to start creating a routine. So, of course, we as men have our routines. We were doing our few things. We were watching sports. We were doing whatever it was that we liked. Women were, of course, taking care of the well, possibly they were also working. I'm not just want to stereotype. Everybody has their own, but right now we're both confined, and that's why I found this video, which I think you're going to find very very funny. I hope that it plays okay, because it is exactly at the point of the 10 to 12 days where we are right now on confinement. Have a look.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking how I'd ever live without the world outside. But then I spent so many nights scuffing Chris and necking wine. I know it's time to say we're gonna be just fine. And so we're here, stuck in this room. I don't know when we're getting out. There's no better place to face the doom. I should have bought that bag of rides. I should have stockpiled my bog roll. If I had known for just 1 second I'd have such a messy hole. But I've got snacks, plenty of gin. Their homeschool schedule can't go straight in the fucking bin. I wanna smash my husband's face. I wanna wave my kids goodbye, but I won't crumble. I won't lay down and die. Oh no, not I. I will survive. Oh, so long as I have internet, I know I'll stay alive.
Very good. All right, I think before we get more profanity on it, we should probably stop that video because I don't know where she's going with this. So let's pause it there. Very good. We apologise to everybody for the swear words. I was not aware that that was in it, but I'm sure that we're all grown up and we can deal with that possibly. But here's the thing you were saying yesterday about TikTok and about the fact that many people now will be just creating entertainment at home, and TikTok's gone through the roof with people doing stuff like that. And it's good to see that people are reinventing themselves and having a lot of fun.
That is absolutely right. Well, I mean, I think this video is just absolutely brilliant because it's really reflecting exactly where we are. I do not know if you actually realize, but right now we're starting to take a routine and we're starting to find our place on the whole thing, and we are coming up with new activities. So I think today, in my eyes, at least in my household, it just basically changes from, oh my goodness, the panic time, what are we going to do, this and that. Right now, we're taking it nice and easy. And even though we have very hopeful governments saying that by Easter, we're going to be outside of this lockdown, I have my severe doubts that this is going to happen. So I think it's just a time that we're just learning how to do new things and think in new ways.
I agree with you. I mean, I think without touching on the politics, I think that we've got to look back to the original challenges, that we're not going to get a antidote to the virus in less than a year, say a year and a half. The only two ways of dealing with it is to make sure that we can change that curve from the big spike of people needing to go to hospital and get looked after now to slowing it down so it's manageable for health services. And the only way that that can happen is by people doing what they're doing now, which is social distancing and quarantining themselves at home. The other option to that is what I think that people are looking at, which I think is not, in my opinion, it's not a solution at all, which is herd immunity. Let everybody get infected. Some people will die, but those who survive will build up immunity and we can get back to work. In my opinion, that's not the way that you do business, but that's my own personal opinion. I'm sure many people feel the same way, and I'm sure some people don't, which is their choice, but we don't go there.
Yeah, I have also been hearing about it. Well, I mean, let's just make sure that everybody gets it, and at least we'll get immune. And there were some people even that were saying, well, I mean, some all the older people are you can spare, because there's going to be some people that are going to be dying for this saving the rest of the world. And I mean, there's some crazy things that you really get to hear on the television and online. So it's a crazy world. But I believe that right now we're entering a moment where we are basically living with it and learning how to live with it. And it is very important that we know that we as guys have to be supporting women in every single thing, because of course they have it absolutely a lot tougher. You, Dave, you asked me to actually upload those 2 pictures right now to the program. So
with very good reason. Let me just say one thing about going back to work early. Supposing you do go back to work early and you still got to worry about it, does that mean that your office will still have social distancing? So that means that you've got to be two meters away from your colleague in the office at all times. How's that going to work? So that's just my thoughts about it. Offices weren't set up for cubicles to be like that, or for people to go to the watering places on your own, staggered, one at a time. So there's a lot of challenges that are in even going back to work early. Okay, so going back to the pictures we have in front. Now, this is something I got from BBC Asia. So I don't know how it qualifies for the rest of the world, but I thought it was very important to talk about the pressures that are on women, that are more so than on men. And I'll tell you exactly where we are. We already mentioned the fact that the school closures are meaning that a lot more women having to look after the kids at home, as opposed to being able to then maybe have a part-time or even a full-time job while the kids are at school. So they've now had to deal with the education of their kids, the well-being of their kids, the entertainment of their kids, and the growth of their kids, which is something that nobody was planning for. That's why you can get a breath of fresh air when you send them to school. There's also been a rise, unfortunately, of domestic violence reported, not least because of the problems that you have of being stuck in a home together, but also because of the fact that there's going to be a lot more incidents of conflict at home and a lot less easy to get the police to be involved in it. So there's a lot more pressure on security services and police just to do normal functions without looking after that. So that's been a big challenge. Then we've got to add the extra bit, which is the frontline care workers. 70% of people, according to the World Health Organization, are at the fighting forefront of looking after people who are contagious or being looked after are female. 70% are female, which means that they also expose themselves to much more danger than men, despite the fact that men seem to be less recoverable or more prone to actually susceptible to it. Well, more women are being exposed to it. Then you've got to add domestic help. The amount of women who are working as home help, often in different countries. So that means that they haven't actually got any fallback. They've been brought over to work in a country. They are part of that family for that period of time, or that's their job. They don't have anything else to fall back on. So with less options, there's a lot more challenge for women during that time. And then you've got to look at the long-term impact of the coronavirus on industries, because hospitality right now is nobody's going to hotels, nobody's going to restaurants. Service industry and retail, all about buying stuff and having things that look after you. They are predominantly women jobs. Not saying that women are the only ones that can do it, but women tend to be involved in those jobs more than men because they're nicer than men. And they're the industries that are being hit more. So the recovery and the long-term impact on women in equality in jobs, which hopefully we've all been working towards, making more women in roles, management and beyond, are going to be hampered because of the challenges of the coronavirus on all industries. So I think taking the show and dedicating it to the importance of women and the importance of the awareness of helping women is very, very key.
Absolutely. I think it was critical. I mean, we're trying to come up with all those important things that we should be covering. So one of the things that I want to ask all the people which are watching, please make sure that you comment below and you let us know, well, first of all, how you're finding the show. I would like to find out what would be some of the different aspects of what we're actually going through that you would like us to talk about. Because, of course, we like to give a light heart to it. But, of course, there's things which are serious, like what Dave was talking about. And there's, of course, several things that we would like to connect. And the reason why we're doing this show is because we are there with you. We want to show you that we're there with you. And talking about being there with you, we have right now, I'm just getting a message here that our correspondent from the Netherlands is right now with us. Mr. Michael Dietrich is there with us, and he's going to be sharing with us some great advice on what to do at home. So, hi, Michael. I know that you're watching there, and he's actually saying in our home, men do 100% of the cooking, cleaning, and caring.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. So, do we get any more from Michael? How's he doing out there in the Netherlands?
So, tell us, Michael, what do you have? What's new?
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Ernesto. Hi, everyone. Michael Dietrich, Netherlands correspondent. Welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about what you can do again with your extra time. Now, a lot of people are talking about spring cleaning, but I know a lot of you have kids, and that's really, really hard to try and find the time. And as much as I love Marie Kondo, I also believe you don't have to dump everything in the middle of the room to get cleaned. So here's a little tip for you. If you have a bookcase at home, organize your bookcase. Here's what I would say. Number one, go around the house and find all of the books that are scattered around. I know some of my fellow Americans might have some books in the bathroom or near your bedside. And then get all of your books together, sort them by number one category. I've got all my musical books here. I've got my theater books here, Harry Potter, Dutch books. And look on Pinterest. For example, one of the great things is organizing by height. It makes your bookcase look extra nice. And then also you'll discover you probably have some books you haven't read yet. So in this time, get some reading done, even if it's 10 minutes before you go to bed. These are my tips for today. Stay sane, stay safe, stay indoors. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Michael.
That's awesome, Michael. Thank you very much.
Love him to bits. What a great guy. And it's typical of Michael. He says, right, I'm going to teach you how to organize your house, but only the books, nothing else. There's an intellectual work. So I've got that to do tomorrow. My whole office here where I broadcast from has still got stuff in here from when we moved in a couple of years ago that I'm going to have to sort out and tidy. I mean, I've moved around it. And being a guy, well, it sounds terrible to say, not being a guy, being me, I don't notice half the mess until it's pointed out and you go, oh yeah, socks. Well, they've been there for a while. I wonder where they've gone. So I've got a lot of cleaning to do. Maybe I'll do socks in level of heights, just like Michael was saying there. We'll see.
You know, one of the challenges that we're also facing right now, having all the kids, having all the kids at home. These I actually got this out of my feed, and I think it's just hilarious. If you can just see it. So my neighbor Tammy, can you read it well, or let me see if not I can.
Yes, saw my neighbor Tammy out early this morning, scraping the "Kid is my terrific student" sticker off her minivan. I guess the first week of homeschooling didn't go so well. And I'm sure every parent's feeling that as well. My daughter, Maya, who you can't see, but she's in the background, just chilling here. She's up for 8 o'clock as usual at school, but doing it from home. And she spends a fair 3-4 hours of doing homework. The beauty is I can help her out when she's got problems. And sometimes as a parent, I'm going, oh, please, I've got things I'm working on. But then you realize that, you know, for a 9-year-old, she's used to hanging with her friends and chatting with her friends and sharing ideas and having fun. As a parent, it's your job to fill that gap. Otherwise, she gets to feel isolated, that she's missing her friends as well. So you've got to fill that role, whether you're a mum or a dad or a brother or a sister. You've got to be very sensitive to the small people who, okay, they might disappear into iPads and not complain too much, but they're missing everybody, same as we are.
Yeah, and then again, of course, you have some of the kids which are now becoming a little bit creative in what they are doing at home. And let's just see this video, because this video is really absolutely worth watching. It's really, really funny.
Hi, ich bin's Michel und ich bin Sven und wir zeigen euch heute unseren ultimativen Trick.
Oh my God.
Is he dead?
I don't know, but it's just.
Well, I'm glad we're all amused by the passing of a small child on the show.
Oh my God!
Then.
It's really absolutely.
So, don't try it at home, and mums and dads, make sure your kids don't try it at home as well. I'm sure the kid's okay, apart from turning into a pancake. Didn't look like it's too much of a domestic problem there.
Do you know what I wanted to share today? I actually was checking in Udemy what is the most popular course, which is actually now being downloaded or purchased. And it is about how to make different Facebook lives and how to do Instagram TV and how to look great on camera. Hey, Maya, how are you? How to look great on camera.
To bed now.
Bye-bye, Maya. Sleep well.
And, he says, I'm not going to bed. Okay, fine. Sorry, carry on, Ernesto. Sorry.
No, I was saying that right now in Udemy, the most popular most popular courses are how to look good on camera, how to use Zoom, because right now suddenly people are feeling that it's actually very important to communicate with people actually using their camera, as we are doing right now. And that, of course, had to. I mean, yesterday I could not stop laughing. I had really tears in my eyes after watching this priest in Italy that was basically trying to transmit mass to everybody with a filter from Instagram. So if you haven't seen it, you have to see it because it's really funny.
Buonasera, ci ritroviamo insieme per pregare, io in chiesa e voi a casa. Oggi è venerdì di Quaresima e vogliamo pregare con la Via Crucis e la benedizione eucaristica.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
That is just funny.
It makes you wonder whether it's deliberate or not, or it actually did happen like that. It doesn't matter. It's very funny anyway. But you wonder whether something. I mean, it's easily done. We've all pressed the wrong filters and suddenly found ourselves with like doggy ears while trying to take a picture. So it could easily be done. But regardless, it's brilliant. Love that.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Well, once again, I would like to. This was a bit of a lighter show. We are very supportive of women, and I encourage everybody to definitely be supportive of our amazing ladies that are around. And with that, I think we have to move, Dave. So do you have any closing thoughts?
Yes, I do. I want to add one thing, which is how men can help at home a little bit more. Certainly with the kids, a couple of activities that you can do to take the pressure off of your partner to be able to make sure that the kids are happy. So here's a couple of things that you don't have to write down right now. You can watch this video again and make a note of it. So alphabet scavenger hunt. Get all the letters of the alphabet, hide them around the house, and the kids have to go looking for them. Hopscotch in a hallway. I think you remember hopscotch. If not, Google it. Creating an obstacle course around the living room, so kids have to get over it. You can time them as well. Playing the floor is lava. So we've got to move around, and if it touches the floor, you must remember that from being a kid. If not, then I'm sure it'll come along some way. And also, animal safari. Print out pictures, if you've still got a printer, of animals around the house, and let the kids go find them and color them in. And my favorite one for this, if you want to join in and make it really good for the kids, is create a virtual dance party using Skype. Get their friends on Skype, play music, let them all dance, let them all have a party, but in just different locations at the same time. Music from YouTube, let them choose. You might need to put your own headphones on so you don't go crazy, but let them all connect, because they might not get together physically, but there's no reason why they won't appreciate the distance on Zoom or Skype, if you can do it. So those are the things that mums and dads can do, but dads especially, take the pressure off. Ladies need a break. They need to watch some Netflix, or they need to just have some time away from us. So get stuck in, and they deserve the break.